Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Alright guys, welcome to episode 7 of War Room. Thank you all for coming. Tonight we've got a wonderful group of guests on. We almost had 6 working webcams, but apparently I'm one of the few people that can't see Twinkie. He's really sad because he bought a webcam and everything. But yeah, should be a good show.
He's a pretty man.
We're going to talk about the latest patch and a little bit about Versy's article on metagame. So let's start off with introducing ourselves. Trent, why don't you start us off?
Alright, so Trent Howell, Knight Colonel, Blackstone Knights, Commanding Officer.
Alright. And drop down to a returning favorite, multi-talented.
Hello, this is Multi-Talented. I am the creator of Proxys League and a pilot of the 228th Independent Battle Mech Regiment.
Alright, and over to sad, lonely, camless Twinkie.
I am some random dude on Source Centauri's.
Good enough, good enough. And Nanner, our last minute replacement for a guest that couldn't make it due to internet problems.
Yeah, I'm not important. I mean,
Damn right you're important. What are you talking about?
I'm a light lance trainer for the Remnant.
Alright, and Versinix down in the bottom.
Let's see, I have Mercenary Star Tag. I am an article writer for Mercenary Star on competitive gaming and a pilot of the 228th, as well as second in command of the unit.
Alright, and I want to do a quick shout out to Valder of QQ. He was going to come on and talk about corporate warfare, but as I mentioned, he's having really bad internet problems. He's like dropping connection every 10 minutes. So he will be on next week. And until then, I'm going to plug Corporate Warfare for him. Basically, it's a 4-man competition. You can join as a 4-man lance or as a lone wolf. You compete, and I believe he said the top 28 players get prizes. So it looks to be a pretty cool league. You guys should check it out. It just started on yesterday? Just started yesterday, the first matches were played, but people can still join. So go check that out and join up, and he'll be on next week to give you all the glorious details that I have no idea about. Alright, so to start off, Versinix wrote an article on the metagame, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that, but first we want to talk about the patch notes and how that has shifted said metagame. Oh, and I believe Twinkie, myself, and Versy are all playing the War Room drinking game, which is anytime somebody says metagame or competitive, we drink.
So we're fucked, considering my article.
Oh, we're fucked as all hell.
Hold on, let me make a second drink. Here,
So,
back.
Malty's drinking milk. Versy, I'm going to let you talk on a little bit about why you wrote the article while I make sure that I have all the right tabs for the patch.
Okay, doke. So the other day, a friend of mine in the unit gave me a link about a number of people in the community writing on MWO Mercs talking about why competitive or why good pilots don't need to run meta mechs or play the metagame. And the problem was not the fact that they said that, but I just was very amazed at the wrong usage of the word and how they just didn't quite understand what that entailed. The entire time they were talking about it, and someone, you'll have to tell me how many times I have to drink after I'm done with this, because I'm talking. But the problem is that they basically said anything that has PPCs and ballistics is a heavy or higher, and jump snipes is meta. And just everything was wrong about it. So I was kind of in a lull. I didn't know an article to write. So I sat down and I did some research and I looked things up and I wrote the article, which is basically defining what they screwed up on and then rephrasing what they should have said and then actually addressing the article itself that I read on the forums.
All right, and Malty is nice enough to keep score. That's 3 drinks for Versi. All
I'm
right,
back. How many drinks am I doing?
3. We're up to 3. Okay, so with that, I wanted to move on and talk about the latest obvious changes to anything that's going on in the metagame. Drink. With the newest patch and some of the newest announcements, we've had a lot of possible changes coming in with the new modules, the new mech changes, and turrets, which I'm super excited to talk about. So let's jump right into that. As soon as I swap the overlay out correctly. So let's start with just patch notes. We got the Shadowhawks, we got basically the new modules and the hitbox tuning. What do you guys think? Have you guys played any of the hitbox tuned mechs? Have you felt a difference?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of the Spider, and I can tell you it gets legged fairly quickly.
Really?
Like, it hurts.
That's good to know. I noticed that it's just like bigger. Like
It's huge.
Oh, it's just massive. Like the
It's
actual mech
literally
itself.
like half the mech is legs, and the other half of the mech is the rest of the stuff.
So yeah, the Spider was changed. I think that was a pretty big one. And then the Orion, the Atlas, and the Awesome. As an Atlas pilot, I'm pretty excited. But let's talk about the Spider, because that is clearly the most meta of those mechs, I would have to say. And so, obviously it's easier to hit. Have you guys noticed it being like enough less effective that you wouldn't use it in drops? I'm gonna pick on Trent.
No. I mean, it's easier. Certain parts of the mech are easier to hit, but the mech itself, I mean, it still suffers from hit detection problems. So, I mean, that's really the key thing that keeps it in competitive play. I mean, we're still using them primarily for that reason. I don't think that the hitbox change is really going to be enough to see it pushed out of comp play. Just its ability to absorb damage and the ECM presence on a jump-capable light is, I think, going to keep it in play regardless of either hitbox changes or even if hit detection changes. I mean, I think it'll still be viable as a light ECM jumper.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's to the point where it's back in a place where you can kill them more easily. Like, they're not overpowered, but they still have their place in matches.
More like annoying, not so much overpowered.
Well, yeah,
Do they
I
have
mean,
a place? Do they?
Do you think they don't?
Yeah.
Have you seen the swords ever use them? Have you ever seen Steeljag use them? No, you
That's
haven't.
true.
Not a single time.
I've seen. Actually, no, I shouldn't do that because you guys just played each other. But I was gonna pick on you guys. So you don't think they have a place in competitive play at all, Twinkie?
Not even a little bit. They're so underpowered. Their DPS isn't high enough. It usually ends up going to a brawl, anyways. I'd rather have a Jenner any day.
I can see that. What about in like tonnage limitation games where you can't necessarily have as many Jenners as you want to? Would you actually sack heavier mechs to have more Jenners?
Definitely.
Okay.
But it's all situational.
Mm-hmm.
You know what though? But we've had spiders win matches just because the ECM and the jump jets. I mean, they'll win caps. They'll all that stuff. I mean, there's definitely a place. I think that there's definitely a place for them. However, you're just gonna have to shift the way you use them more, like because they get legged so fast. Compared to the way they were, you just have to play them further out instead of using like medium lasers or medium pulses. Start using the large laser, medium laser thing.
Do I still sound choppy? Sorry, stream. I didn't have my Skype muted, apparently. My bad. Hopefully that fixes it a little bit. Yeah, I feel the spiders they've always been an annoyance, but they're not necessarily, like, I mean, you'd never, if given the option on a one-on-one fight, I mean, I always take a Jenner, personally. But I feel like as a scouting role, they have their place because they can jump higher. They're much faster than Jenners now with the latest engine tweak, right?
Only some,
not the
you still have
ECM
the 5D.
Oh, right.
150.
Yeah.
I mean, it still
The
has
only
that
thing-
nice roll with the jump jets and the ECM, so it's
Yeah.
always going to have that place. I don't think the hitbox change is really going to take that away from it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's in stuff like Arhad and Merrick, it's not necessarily going to be seen as much. Well, actually, you see them quite a bit in Merrick because you can only have so many of a certain mech type. So in the light drop, you see a lot more spiders just because you can't have a million Jenners and a couple heavy mechs. But yeah, in stuff like Arhad where you don't have that restriction, I imagine you'd hardly ever see them. But I don't play Arhad, so. Have you guys been trying any of the other tuned mechs? I've been playing the Atlas, but I haven't noticed it in Awesome or in Orion's as much. Versi, have you noticed anything? You own Awesomes, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't play them.
I've played the awesome.
Why?
Oh, Multi, hit us with
It
some
doesn't
knowledge.
make much of a difference.
I've been seeing a lot more of them. I just didn't know if it actually mattered.
I have
I
max
got
skill
my
level
standard 385 out there, my 9M, put 6 medium lasers on it. Thought I was going to tank a lot. Took a lot of damage, CT.
Yeah.
And it's still a barn.
Oh,
Doesn't matter how big the sides are.
The
I'm
Awesome
sure
is still
they'll
the
hit the
widest
sides
mech,
and
yeah.
whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah, you can't really avoid that. It's true. The Orion is one of the mechs I thought could benefit the most from this, due to just how insanely big its CT was. But the problem is it has the same problem that like the Dragon has, where its head, like its CT, sticks out farther than the rest of its body. So even if it's turned sideways, you can still hit the CT. Have you guys I have noticed no significant difference in playing my Orion. Have you guys?
No. It's,
Okay.
the Orion, I wish it had potential. Everybody here was looking forward to it in Blackstone. And the change has not been significant, and it's just, there's a lot of problems with the Orion besides just hitboxes. But for it to be, ideally we'd like to see it be a really powerful brawler to put in there with Atlases charging over a hill and wrecking people. But
They are kind of like a mini Atlas.
yeah, and I wish there were a better mini Atlas. But I think we'll have to wait a while longer to see a better mini Atlas.
Yeah, I feel like this comes back to the same problem which we've covered a million times in the show and I will not cover again, which is SRMs and why they're not doing damage. But oh, Multi, you're shaking your head. Elaborate. Get that broccoli out of your mouth.
I was just sad that SRMs didn't do damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you
agreed.
were
You've
gonna
seen
be
me
like,
use them a lot recently in
Yeah.
my Locust.
oh god.
Oh my goodness.
You. Hey man, at least it's not like the glory days where all of them did like 2.5 damage and splash, and you one shot an Atlas and they back. That was.
I've been seeing a lot of one-shots.
on you. If you're running a Locust, you have to do math to make sure you aren't one shot if you get hit in the CT with an AC-20.
CT.
Or
just go for
anywhere.
the legs. Dead anyway.
No, you just give up if you get struck in the legs. It's more a do
You
I
just
get
give up
killed
from
if
the
I get hit
beginning.
in the left or right torso by an AC-20. Hold on a second while I do the math.
I want to see a 12v12 competitive Locust match. That'd be ridiculous.
I'll wait to see Luna Wolves stream a match with that, thanks.
Oh.
Perfect. And then the Atlas hitboxes, which are kind of one of the last things on the hitbox tuning list. I I feel like I've been living longer, but I can't say I can put it down to like an exact fact that I'm living X amount longer per match or that my damage is distributed X amount more. It just makes it easier to take out the AC-20.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like, I don't really notice it when I'm piloting one, but when I'm fighting one, I notice that right torso is way easier to hit. So, have you guys thought about anything along these lines? This is a sloppy ass show tonight. I apologize to anybody who's actually taking the time. Oh no, fuck! I gotta re-invite Twinkie on Skype. Twinkie, you have to stay on the call, otherwise my overlay gets fucked.
Well, it used
I
to
am
be
now
that
the
the
Twinkie
Atlas
Lord.
had two side torsos that mattered once SRMs were in. But
No,
now
no,
it just
Malty.
seems to be
No.
What?
Bad. We're not talking about SRMs.
Well, I was moving on. But...
Oh, okay, no, keep moving.
So now that there's only the one torso that really matters, you just take that out, and he's just got what the laser.
Yeah.
And I guess there's ECM in that torso still, but it just seems so sad.
But when was the last time
Definitely a
you
nerf in that case?
when was the last time you used streaks on an Atlas? Like,
Never.
yeah, like you don't really need that lock on that much, so.
Actually, I can give a reason to use them.
Really?
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 LRMs.
Can you?
Yes, actually.
Alright, let's hear it.
The C Reddit team used to hold a 1v1 competition called the Arena, and I would bring streaks on my Atlas for the assault round because the ability to tear off limbs was very important in 1v1 duels.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
I'd rather kill him.
Well,
Yeah, except for an Atlas, shooting that CT takes way too much time. It's easier to remove important components on the Atlas first, then you have all the time in the world to kill him after.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Atlases
Especially
are...
if it's Atlas versus Atlas.
Well, I mean, in competitive matches, Atlases aren't there for damage, though. Like, they're not... You don't take an Atlas to
Yeah,
do a
no.
bunch of damage. You take an Atlas to...
Base tank.
Excuse me, to tank. Like, that, it's the most effective tank in the game. It's one of the only tanks in the game, really, other than Sense.
Yeah, I think Gracie brings up a good point with that new triangle hitbox in the crotch area.
Yeah,
that-
actually,
that
that's
actually
really
changes
important.
quite a bit.
We should talk about that. I know I had used that exploit before a lot, just shooting somebody in the crotch to damage their CT, but this changes, I mean, this
But
makes
it's only
torso
for the
twisting.
retouched mechs, though, right? It's not for all of them.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah,
just for
Right.
these ones.
Okay, so
But-
they haven't touched the ones where it actually is important.
Oh, don't even try that. The Diaper Atlas, that thing has a huge ass that you can just shoot to get its CT no matter where you're looking.
But just saying, every single time that I've ever shot an Atlas in competitive play, I'm not shooting a diaper. I'm shooting the 20.
Even in a light,
Yeah.
like in a light circling around behind it?
No, still hitting that.
Unless
that-
the CT's open.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
That's legit.
unless the CT is open already, I am taking out a 20.
Yeah,
Every
it's
time.
shaking it all the time. You're gonna hit the legs anyway. But if it's standing still, then sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like Ed Meester used to say, shoot it in the butt.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they said the next mechs they're planning on look at, they don't say it in the patch notes, so I'll have to find it. But the next mechs they're planning on looking at are the Dragon mostly. I just can't wait for the Dragon. The Dragon, the Scent, I think it was the Raven? I don't remember. But the Dragon and the Scent are two more that will vastly improve from that. Versi, you said the mechs that don't really matter. What mechs do you think of the CT or the crotch
Oh, the ones
mattering
that
for?
do matter?
Mhm.
Stalkers and Jaegers are the two that really matter. That square butt, man, piece of cake to shoot.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. Has anybody been having a bitch of a
Easiest
time
kill.
hitting a Misery lately? Not like actually just like shooting it, but like getting hit detection on it?
Yeah, I have. In fact, today I was running with the PPC Spider for fun, and yeah, I was hitting it, getting red, but no
Yeah.
no hit detection on it.
I
I don't know
have
what the deal
never
is.
seen so many AC-20s do so little damage as when I ran into a Misery today.
I thought that was a quirk.
It's
a feature.
it's already
a
damaged,
feature.
so it takes damage slower. Haven't you guys seen the skin?
It's
Lol?
got holes in it.
the bullets just go right through. Mechs are hollow, guys.
Haven't you seen the armor on it, bro? It's got like 100 some center torso. It's like an atlas.
Twinkie, mute your fucking mic in Skype.
Oh my god, it is muted, isn't it?
What?
Oh,
How
my
are you
bad.
so echoey?
How about now?
Oh, there you go.
There you
That's
go.
much better.
So let's talk about that dragon. I think the
That's
side
like-
torsos are actually going to be really crucial when they're tweaking that. If they could make it like the catapult, where the side torsos actually cover the sides of the nose,
Yeah.
then you don't have that gigantic, hitbox for
I
CT.
agree. I think that's how they have to do it. Otherwise, I still don't think the Dragon is going to be viable in any way, shape, or form. But I did buy a
What?
flame, and I do want to use it. So I really hope that it gets fixed in some significant way. I hope that all of these hitbox tuning effects make it like at least make all the mechs more balanced, because there are definitely some that are way too
I would
hard to
just
hit
like
and way
to-
too easy to hit.
I would just like to put on the record that Swords of Kantari think the dragon is viable.
Yeah, we've seen.
Hey,
you guys take a couple-
hey, no pointing fingers.
All
Yeah,
right,
I've seen dragons be viable, but it takes a special type of style to play them.
where have dragons been viable, guys? In
All
Not
restrictions,
in
low
proxies. There's
tonnage
actually
drops.
negative
competitive
1
play?
All restrictions.
Yeah, the all restrictions. I've seen Swords do some really amazing shit with their dragons.
I was actually just trying to bait somebody into saying comp play, but that's fine. No,
Didn't you just say it?
yeah, I did twice. So 2 drinks for everybody. Do you guys really use dragons in all restrictions?
We do.
Wow,
We have
I did
one
not
of the
know
best dragon pilots ever, Final Fortune.
that. I am jealous. The dragon has been one of my favorite mechs for a long time. But I mean, I feel like even he would admit that they could be better, or they could be more
Well-
balanced compared to everything else.
The only reason why we think they're viable in the all restriction matches is because they're so quick, and the dragons can pull that 40 alpha.
Yeah, you can go really fast, and
Like the hitboxes are really funny with the arms because you do that side torso swing, whatever, and like you're never gonna get hit by PPCs and all restrictions.
Hmm.
Not gonna get hit by lerms or streaks. None of it's gonna hit your CT, and it does more damage than anything else in all restriction matches.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I think back to the glory days of running an XL360 and a Dragon, just tearing around the map at like 106. That was always the best. Not viable in any way, shape, or form, but really fucking fun.
Bowling? What?
Oh god, I miss bowling. Can't wait for collisions. Gonna be so happy.
The mythical collisions that haven't come.
I've played with them before. You can eat those words.
Oh, I've played with them too.
I know.
I think that they're pretty essential.
What other mechs do you guys want to see the hitbox tuning on? Other than the ones that have been listed so far? Malty, pick a mech right now. Do it. Or do you actually not care?
Locust.
It
We-
won't help it.
We
I
can't.
want to have broken
Won't
It
HSR.
won't help, but it's
Malty, here's how you do well in a Locust. Open up as many tabs as possible in your browser. Download
YouTube.
torrents. Download torrents.
Open Netflix.
Open MechWarrior Online. Get in Locust. Run around the map. 6 kills, 1,000 damage every game.
I'd like to point out that the Locust has more head armor than leg armor.
Does it fucking really?
Yep.
Yes. Yes. It
Oh.
I never thought about that.
That's
Wow.
that's the reason why
I don't
you
run
put
head
it in
armor
the
on it.
water.
Come on, guys. It's that Phoenix
Put it in
Mech
the
roll
water.
cage totally protects the pilot.
That thing's
I
awful.
didn't fucking remember that until I was like, I'll play my Locust, lol, and I got in my Phoenix Mechs one, because I was like, well, this way, at least if I lose, I'll have a Seville bonus, and I'll make some money. And then I was like, I am gazing like this at my monitor, trying to, like, pilot this mech, and I was like, is this really a fucking thing? Can we get rid of that, please? You can't see out of this mech at all.
It's awful.
It's the worst.
That was whenever we first got our Phoenix mechs. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take the Locust out, give it a fair shake, whatever. I jumped in that one first. And I was like, holy crap! I am never piloting this thing ever.
I just wish I'd been that one asshole who'd run a Street Cat on the day the Phoenix package came out, so that he just got like 1,000 kills in a day just mopping up locusts, because that's all anybody was running. God, that was so dirty.
I have a
was
lot
a
of
great
fun
day.
with them though.
They are pretty fun.
The submarine Locust is about
The submarine locust.
is about the best. It's
Pretty awesome.
Okay. Well, we've talked enough about hitboxes. Doesn't really sound like anybody else has anything to add. Bug fixes. They finally fixed the bug boat on Forest Colony, which I will forever be sad about. I was so happy when I found that. Has anybody noticed the ECM reward not working? You're supposed to get a reward now when you toggle your ECM.
Some easy
Really?
reward.
It,
Yeah.
It's news to me.
Yeah, I know, right? Rewards for counter ECMing advantageously. XP and C bills will be given successfully countering an ECM enabled by an enemy mech for 5 seconds.
I didn't get one today, and we were running tons of ECM on our Ravens.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you where so much all restriction drops in America. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, that's right. God, I feel so sorry for you guys. That's always the worst. We had a string of matches where I don't think for like a month we couldn't use jump jets for just like a straight month.
Fucking worst month of my life.
We got into Praxis, and we were like, wait, we can have jump jets? And we all had to fucking learn how to play again. Like, none of us remembered how to use jump jets. Like, I had to fucking get in my 3D for a week straight and be like, how does jump sniping work? I've forgotten.
Ours were no ECM matches, and it just got ridiculous. Like, the amount of streaks were just too many. One too many streaks.
Mm-hmm. Well, then let's talk about... Have you guys used the new modules?
Yes, that hill
yeah.
climb
Yes.
seems pretty buggy.
Hill
Hell
climb is
no.
buggy? So
Yeah, teleporting.
I didn't buy Hill Climb, but I bought the Cockpit Shake one because Atlas's.
Okay, we can talk about that one.
Well, I mean, we can talk about both of them. But, yeah, no, let's talk about it. So it's buggy. You get teleporting.
Let's talk about what I want to talk about.
God damn it.
Like-
Unicorn.
Competitive play, meta.
That's two.
That's two.
I don't play this game.
serious show. I
I
swear.
don't play this game. I will win all the time. Meta competitive play. Meta.
Oh my
competitive
god.
Okay, and let's kick Nanner really quick.
play.
No,
Aww.
I'm kidding. You're fine.
So it's like it
Yeah. go ahead,
tries
Halsey.
to do the old way of hill climbing, but then it says no, you get this extra little bit of movement. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that in reverse. It gives you like the extra movement and says like your deceleration is lowered, so you don't decelerate as quickly going up the hill. But then it's like, oh, you actually hit 0 if you didn't have the module, so we're going to teleport you backwards,
Whoa.
and it makes very little sense to me.
Yeah, that does seem. I get why
think,
that.
though,
Like,
if
I
you
get
do
why
make
that's
it
the
over
bug.
the hill,
though.
If you make it over the hill before you would have hit 0, because you get that extra speed because you're not decelerating as fast, then it's fine. It's only when you hit 0 that it teleports you backwards.
Huh.
That's
So
what I noticed.
when it has been working, so like say you aren't getting bugged, have you noticed a substantial amount of increase in hill climb?
It's possible.
I haven't.
Everybody's
That's
like,
not even an answer.
nah, we haven't actually noticed anything.
Like for a little bit, I felt like I was back in before they did the hill climbing stuff, like before they made movement restrictions. But I don't know. And then I'd hit something and teleport backwards. So
I'm sorry, I just play all the mechs with jump jets, so I don't give no fucks.
I feel like this is their way
Right?
of trying to say, "Hey guys, play mechs without jump jets because here's a module." Kind of like they did with ECM. Is be like, "Oh, ECM's kind of rough on people, so
In-
let's give them this extended range module so that they can unlock that or whatever."
If
In-
they wanted that, they're gonna have to give us more than 10%.
Yeah, I was
can
gonna say
tell you
instead
that.
of doing 10%, they should just do a movement class. So
Okay, so
they have the
remember
movement
what
archetypes,
happened-
right?
Remember what happened with ECM when we said the range module wasn't enough and the PPC thing wasn't enough? We got seismic. So I'm just thinking of the seismic for the movement restrictions, what that's going to be.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Well, no, I mean let's talk about like, obviously the hill climb module isn't super viable right now, but what do you think needs to be done to make it viable?
Well, I wouldn't make it viable. I don't think modules are the correct response to that because you're going to end up with a seismic again, and
No,
it's
no,
going to
no,
be
no.
OP.
So let's not use the module as a fix for anything. Let's just say the module is in the game. It's not here as a fix. It's just here as a module. It's just there. What
Yeah,
would
I
you
mean-
do to make it viable?
I mean, a lot of modules in this game are purely band-aid fixes for other little problems that have cropped up. To fix a hill climb module, the biggest thing I have with the hill climbing issues is when I'm just about to clear a ridge and there's about 3 inches of dirt or something that's preventing me from moving me forward. If you could get rid of that, I would buy that module in a heartbeat.
So always
Yeah.
3 inches shorter. Is that
Yeah,
what-
lower the
just
terrain by
lop
3 inches.
all of them off. Just 3 inches.
Yeah, I'd agree with Trent on a lot of that. That, you know, one of the guys that was on here, we talked about that incline decline thing, and basically he said something that just really made sense, and that was that PGI has built it so that it's like our mechs have wheels, and that they're having to roll
Yeah.
up and down hills versus stepping up and down hills. And that if they could make that differentiation and they could actually fucking walk like a goddamn mech, we wouldn't have these issues and they wouldn't have had to bring out this module in the first place.
Well, the other problem with that though is you're still going to have the same problem that you have now. Even if you change like how the movement feels, you still can't put your foot at, greater than a 60-degree angle and climb a hill. That just doesn't work.
I want to see a 100-ton Atlas put its foot anywhere and that shit not get purchased and move.
Yeah, I suppose. Well,
We're gonna
but
talk
then
realism.
Especially up a 3-foot snow embankment.
okay, yeah, no.
A rock.
The
Rock.
small embankment shit I totally get. Like the little
Forest or
Forest Colony.
Frozen
No, you're right.
City.
Forest Colony.
Or
Frozen City.
just River City
That
jumping
little-
out of the water.
That little goddamn ledge on River City. Get fucking
Oh, I hate
Oh,
that
jeez.
thing.
the one by Epsi. God damn it. That thing can eat a cock.
Tell me how you really feel.
Oh, I hate that so much. It's the worst. But yeah, like
The
if
statues in River City, bro.
you should be able to
Statues.
step, you should be able to
Should
step
break
up stuff
those.
like that. But on maps like Canyon Network, I don't think that movement archetype kind of thing, changing it from wheels to legs, would change the mobility on places like Canyon.
Yeah, that map's just ass.
I love Canyon. Get fucked.
I don't
Oh,
at all.
we played probably about a dozen comp drops in a row on that map for a while, kind of like how we got stuck on Terra Thermo last week, and it just
Oh,
it creates
Yeah, we
some lasting.
we got trapped
memories.
on Crimson Straits. Yesterday. Oh no! Yeah, yesterday when I was playing with SWK, we played like fucking 5 or 6 matches straight on Crimson Straits. It was
And
really
we won
fun.
them all.
no,
Yeah. Oh god, we crushed. But yeah, they were all on Crimson Straits. I was like, that wasn't with my unit. Who was I playing with? I was like, oh yeah, SWK. That was actually a blast. I've never seen a brawl in the cave with PPCs work so well.
Because we had little spider monkey centurions, bro. You don't even know.
God damn it.
Come at you like a spider monkey.
I come at you like a Spider-Man. God, what is the grandpa's name? Is it
Did we
Rick?
stream or record that? That was amazing.
I don't know.
Watch that again.
I was just rewatching the video of when I had one of my buddies lower the armor on his stalker, and we blew it off and had him walk into the middle of a map and just like drag the other team in. Oh, that was glorious.
Damien's Gambit.
LRM pheromones too strong.
Look, it's a partially destroyed, missing arm LRM stalker sitting on Theta. Let's go get it.
Let's do it.
It totally worked.
This couldn't possibly be a trap.
Never.
All the kill hungry bugs are like, I
Fucking
want it.
Three,
Give it to me.
three dual gauze Jaegers pop up on a hill and 3 Atlases charging from the side. It's glorious. Speaking of brawls, improve gyro.
Gyro.
This is a bad night for me.
I think we said mitigate 20
Improved
times.
gyros. There we go. Have you guys used it?
No.
The only use so far that I've found is putting it on an Atlas when you're tanking damage. You get a lot less screen shake, so you can actually get shots off.
Well, I have a question about it. I haven't used it. I haven't really read up on it. I don't think Blackstone's ever tried it. But
Yeah, go ahead.
does it reduce shake
No.
in a jumping unit? No, only land based hit.
It only reduces shake from, well, I'm pretty
weapon
sure
set, or-
I'm pretty sure it only reduces damage shake. I haven't actually put it on a jump jet mech yet. Somebody in chat cover my shit. Or am I right?
Wait, what was the question again?
I know what I'm doing later tonight.
Putting
Test.
I'm fairly certain that the advanced gyro module doesn't affect jump jet shake. It's only from weapon damage.
Even if it did affect jump jets, I think it would still be
Useless.
useless.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting shot, there's no point in shooting back. You just want a torso twist. I mean, you're dying regardless. That's what's happening.
Oh, so like, what about like an AC2 mech? Like, have you ever tried to charge an AC2 Jaeger and you're just like, God damn it, it's not actually hurting, but I just can't shoot it.
Not really. No.
I think the only reason why they put it out there is because there were some pugs that got all upset because they couldn't shoot back and frustrated, and they're
Oh,
like,
that's totally
"Hey,
why.
you know what we should do? We should take it out completely. No, wait, make a module."
How many modules are the result of pugs crying about something?
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the competitive scene, what competitive players need in their mechs for competitive drops.
We need more airstrikes.
Multi-talented
drink.
needs more milk.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
me too. I was gonna say multi needs more milk.
Is that milk or is that like a White Russian or something?
It is actually just milk.
God
Oh
damn
my
it.
god.
Yeah, I'm eating dinner.
What?
We can tell.
Malty shows up earlier. I was like, hey, Malty, you can be on the show tonight, right? He was like, oh, yeah. Let me go get dinner. And it's gone until 5 minutes before the show starts. He's like,
I
alright,
was
I'm
working
back.
out.
What?
I was
Um,
running in place, and I did some jumping jacks.
So yeah, I think
I did.
if the secret wasn't out last week or the week before, it's definitely out now. Aaron Artie is the new king. Like, that shit is so effective in every
Oh,
situation.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Does anyone notice?
Except when your team's all together and you accidentally launch it on
Except
them
for-
and team
Except
kill
for
2
when
people.
you lose 2 mechs in Proxus because of it.
Yeah.
Looking at
Except
you,
for
red
whenever-
squares.
Except for whenever you're hill humping and you go to shoot it, and it shoots on the hill in front of you, and you're like, "No!
Yeah. You know what I'd really
There's
like?
an invisible box."
I'd really like the command console to allow you to place it orbitally. Just like open up the map, click and drag, and like that's where it goes.
Ooh,
That wouldn't even be fair.
That'd probably be good.
that'd be a little OP.
Well, not really, because it's 3 tons to be able to do that.
Yeah,
Like-
but that's like a potential, 100, 200 damage on the enemy team.
Yeah, for 3 times,
Times
I'd say
two.
that's respectable.
Yeah,
I don't
at
know.
least 3 people in a competitive game doing it, and they destroying the other team without having any personal skill and shooting at them.
That's true. That would be a problem, but I don't know.
My
I
skill is point and click.
Yeah, let's be fair. We play with mice. This is just a point and click shooter, so no. That's not true. There's screen shake, etc.
There's screen shake.
So
I have to hit the space bar to jump jet.
basically, what I've gotten out of this. Let's just go over this really quick. Improved gyros, completely ineffective. Hill climb, completely ineffective. Hitbox tuning, completely ineffective. Is that what I've gotten out of this?
Sounds
I'm,
about
Good
right.
job, PGI.
I'm correct in this.
Yay.
You've done it again.
None of this has affected the competitive scene.
What? I just
Right.
had one
Could
of my
have asked me that
Blackstone
in the
guys
beginning.
test the gyro with the jumps. He says it does reduce screen shake for jump jets with the advanced gyro.
Oh, that's good to know. I'll have to try it.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, with that new knowledge, do you guys have any differing opinions? I feel like it's still not worth a module slot when you could have an airstriker already.
I'm not giving it up for a potential 200 damage on the team.
That's
Nope.
it's so effective. Holy balls! Wait, potential 200 damage? Already does 400 damage.
400.
400 damage. Sorry.
So possible 800.
math, I failed.
Whoa.
I have seen Multi shoot like 2 targets with lasers, drop an arty strike, and get 600 damage in a match. But guys, why aren't you on my level? I'm so much better than you. Like, get fucked,
In my
Multi.
cicada 3C.
I almost feel like competitive games are like the damage numbers are bloated now because
For
people
sure.
are just dropping airstrikes and artillery. It's not even like a really
Mhm.
good way to judge a person's skill at the moment.
No, I agree. That being said, in the leagues, I feel like the ability to place a good arty is like in pugs. It obviously doesn't fucking matter, but like I mean, being able to detect damage, but you can tell when somebody's playing well, like during a match. Like you don't look at somebody's damage and be like, wow, they're playing really well because they did 600 damage. You're like, well,
I used to.
I saw them out of position there, etc., etc. So
Yeah,
you used to use damage as like an indicator of how well somebody was playing.
I used to, yeah. I mean, you were obviously fucking up the other team if you dropped like 1,000 damage.
See, that's one of my biggest like peeves though is
I mean,
why do 1,000 damage when you can do 600 and kill just as many people? Like, why not be more accurate and do less damage?
You know what though? It's like in your any of your streak mechs. Like you can put up 600, 800 damage. Yeah, you're obviously hitting him with streaks. You're obviously getting in the brawl. You're obviously doing whatever. But are you any good? I mean, you killed a Highlander and an Atlas. Obviously not by yourself, but all that damage came out of the Highlander to the Atlas because you just stripped him completely. It took you
Yeah.
forever to kill him.
I mean, there's damage and then there's effective damage, which are two entirely
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah, did you
arguable
hit
to
the
say
Atlas on his arm the whole time because he was torso twisting, or did you core that motherfucker?
Mm.
there
And
is
so I don't know.
effective,
Well, sorry, no.
there
keep
is
going.
effective damage, but and it's arguable. You opened him up. I mean, you pretty much made him die. Like, you could say that as well. Like,
That's- yeah.
take a 3 Ultra Ilia, you know, he's pelting them, you know, his damage numbers are getting high, but he's opening up enemies. He's taking out that shield arm. He's doing more than you think.
I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely don't mean to belittle like high damage. Like high damage is still impressive. You're still doing work, but there is a point where sometimes players are doing damage for the sake of doing damage instead of taking components or taking mechs.
Well, there's a thing with the Ilias too. I mean, if you're stripping armor with an Ilia or an AC Jaeger or whatever, that's direct damage at a given point that you should be shooting, not shooting arms on a cicada.
Who shoots the arms on a cicada, though?
Streaks do.
Cicadas have
too.
That's a good
arms.
point. Cicadas
so do
still
Jenners.
exist? I'm confused.
I pilot a cicada.
Cicadas still exist?
We use them all the time.
No, I'm just giving multiple.
I'll give a well. I mean, you can give it for instance, like with the light players. Like I was playing a game where I had 1 kill and 3 damage. Now, obviously, somebody else did all the damage, but I was able to hit whatever it was right where it needed to be hit, exactly where it was. You know, that was 1 kill. The guy was going to get away if I didn't hit him when I did. So a lot of it, yeah, is some of it's damage, but you can put up 1,000 damage and be completely out of the right spot to be in. You know, you can go off by yourself and do something retarded, and get your whole team just killed or whatever. You know, there's a lot more in competitive than there is in pugs. Like pugs rely more on damage and stupid stuff like that. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a competitive team is made up of a lot more than just a bunch of high damage players. Competitive, sorry.
Target calling.
Yeah, target calling, unit tactics, etc. I mean, we all know that. Actually, I guess I should probably do an episode at some point being like, what makes an effective unit? Blah, blah, blah.
We already did that. Lol's article.
Yeah, that's true. God damn it.
Call a target. There you go.
Call,
Effective unit.
call target.
Eh,
Is the target
Everyone
dead?
else shoot a target.
Here's-
If target is dead, go
Here's-
to next target.
Here's how,
Everybody kill the Atlas.
here's how you call targets. Does it have AC-20s? Yes. Shoot that
Kill it.
target.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that target dead yet? No. Tell people to shoot it again. Is it dead yet? Yes. Pick the next target with the most AC-20s.
I will say though that the other day we did do a match for Proxys where we did something different to train some of our players, and that was one player brought a tag.
can't believe you're going
And-
to bring this up.
I'm fucking gonna say it because you know what? There's units out there that might be need to train their players on target calling because sometimes target calling and shooting the designated target teams are bad, and we were
That's
having
true.
that problem a
No,
little
that's
bit.
true. That should be brought
So
up.
so we had to teach some people. So one of our better players threw a tag on his mech, and he tagged shit. And you did not shoot a mech unless you saw the tag crosshairs on that mech. If you didn't see it on that mech, you should not be shooting it. And if you did, that was the mech to kill. And you know what? They did fantastic. And this round, last Proxys, tonight, we didn't do it, and people still fucking did their targeting like they were supposed to.
Yeah, we did something similar back in the day. We would just go down the line. Everybody would target Alpha and kill Alpha and move on to Bravo and so on down the line. Not allowed to shoot anything but the letter that was up.
Almost sounds to me like you shouldn't be having these people.
Sounds like what?
If they're not able to actually figure out which target to shoot at, then
Gotta
should
train
not be in the
people, bruh.
competitive scene.
Yeah, I
God
was
help
gonna
me if
say
I dare. I couldn't find it.
Fucking
so
Q.
we're getting
Hit
a bunch
Q.
of. We
You
get a
can
bunch
find
of
any
new
mech
players
that's
in.
visible to target. Just hit Q, look around, find the target, and then shoot at it. That being said, you do need to train new players, which is actually, that's something I should do a show about, is how to get new people into a unit cohesively without making them feel completely oppressed, because that is hard. Like, that is something that I noticed when I first started playing, was that there were lots of people that were coming in and staying at a certain skill level and not improving, and that's like why I left that unit and why I joined.
Get on my level, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Well, these swords are very selective in who they essentially recruit. Like, nobody in this unit really picks up new players. We only pick up players who actually know what they're doing. That's why we only have like 20 members.
mhm.
Oh yeah, but I mean, that's a double-edged blade sword. You know, until recently, you guys were having to borrow members from 228 for a while because you just didn't have the 12 people on at the same time. So, I mean,
And
yeah, it's great that you guys are now at that point where you can field your team. But on the flip side, for a while, it was hurting you.
I won't mention names because it's sad, but we have seen units decline recently just because they did do that thing where they tried to only recruit as like as many elite people as possible, and then they just fell by the wayside because people stopped showing up or they got burnout or whatever.
Yeah, I've played a lot of games, and I've seen a lot of suffering from burnout, and that's generally the elite players. I'm not saying that it's going to happen to you guys, but man, like that's something that in Remnant we've tried to make sure that we're not going to deal with. You know, if somebody's like, oh man, I'm really tired tonight, I've got something to do, or I got whatever, we make sure there's somebody else there to take that position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you get a sweet spot where you have just enough people that you can keep tabs on everybody and know when everybody's going to show up. Like, I think SWK is probably at about that sweet spot where with 20 people, you know, okay, X, Y, and Z aren't going to be here, but A, B, and C can take their spots. Whereas when you get to bigger and bigger units, you just kind of have to put out the message and be like, hey, we've got a match tonight, show the fuck up. And hope that the people are there when you need them to be.
well, I mean, that's the flip-flop, though, is that, you know, like, let's take Swords and 228 since we've had a long history with each other. You know, Swords have that perfect sweet spot right now with their small unit of you know, perfect knit players. But 228, we've never been one to stay small. We wanted to involve lots of players that wanted to be in that competitive, you know, playing, you know, to experience the 12-mans. And so we kind of took the opinion that, you know what, are you competent? You know, do you have potential? All right, we'll train you. We'll get you on the level that you need to be playing in these competitions. We'll help you out. We'll do the target calling. We'll teach you. And both methods work, but it's, you know, they both have their thing. You know, we had the thing where we had too many players and we couldn't field enough people. And for a while, Swords was having the problem where they couldn't get enough players. And now I think both units are doing really great. You know, we got our 2 Legions and 228, and Swords got their sweet spot of players. So now they're rocking out the 12 all the time. And, you know, it's getting to those points. And then the given situations with times like Christmas and shit like that you got to alter and adjust for. And it's how you adjust and handle those situations that really show which units can stand the test of time.
Well, and let's not forget, you know, when and if Community Warfare comes out, you're going to need more people field some of these teams, and
So
like I said, we want to make sure that they're all ready.
That's another interesting point, which I would love to talk about with you guys because you all have heads on your shoulders, etc. Do you guys think that let's take SWBK? I think SWBK is a perfect example.
All right.
Do you guys think that you will actively participate in community warfare, or will you focus specifically on, like, there will be units that their goal will be doing well in community warfare, which won't necessarily be a competitive format for the teams competing. Like, you might have very unbalanced weights, you might have very unbalanced drop conditions, etc. Do you guys, like, is SWK thinking that community warfare, like, that's going to be their thing, or are you guys still going to be focused on the out-of-game leagues, the ones that are made specifically for the competitive scene?
Well, it really depends on how community warfare is going to be set up. Like, we don't even know yet. They haven't given us the specifics. But if it's anything like Proxys, I mean, we'll review.
Right, but I think I mean, at no point in my mind has community warfare ever been a replacement for the competitive scene. I don't feel like with the launch of community warfare we're going to see, I mean, maybe we will, but I hope we wouldn't see things like Run, Hide, or Die or Merrick go away. I hope those things would still be there, because those are still going to be the true metal of what makes a really good, cohesive team. It's not going to be community warfare, because community warfare could be, you know, depending on how it's implemented, we have, you know, 36 pilots, and we're constantly hitting a planet with 3 teams at all times. Get fucked, you can't defend it. And
See, you're
Sorry,
talking the difference between, like, in World of Tanks, like, you would have Clan Wars, and then you would have all the other competitive stuff that they do that, you know, gets published.
Yes, I have no idea what Clan Wars is because I didn't play World of Tanks, but I'm assuming that that's what we're talking about. Like,
It's similar to community warfare. A lot
See-
less. It's a lot more simplified.
right, like the competitive game I always draw on is StarCraft. Like, community warfare is going to be like the StarCraft campaign and the custom games. Like, that's what that's going to be. It's going to be the fun and the story and the drive to keep playing. But the competitive scene is always going to be players challenging each other to do better and tournaments with prizes and stuff like that. So I don't think that having a huge team is going to necessarily be effective for a competitive scene. But for community warfare, it totally might. And so it depends on when teams make that decision as we want to do just community warfare, or we want to do just competitive drops, or we want to do both.
Well, definitely. I'm gonna chime in a little bit because, I mean, I'm gonna agree with. We just don't have enough information to really say we're gonna be doing this or we're not gonna be doing that. But there are certain things that you can glean from the information given, and that's that a lot of community warfare is going to be heavily based on the funds available from players to the unit. Like the dropships being approximately 18 million for the basic one that you get upon founding a mercenary corporation. Well, if you can fund those kind of things because you got 600 players and all of them play, let's just make random bumfuck numbers for the hell of it, 3 matches in one day, ta-da, you got 2 dropships. Well, that's a major fucking problem for a unit that has to, that while they win all their matches, they only have 20 people playing, and they have to play, whoever wants to do the fucking math, let's say 10, 15 games of nothing but wins to do it. I mean, those are big things that you have to consider. Then you take into the consideration that I don't look like what I thought I would. Yeah. So then you take into consideration the fact that there's going to be alliances. Mercenary Star is an alliance. I'll come right up front and say it, that it's a group of teams out there. So, if Unit A and Unit B are of medium size of, let's say, 50 to 100 people, well, that's approximately, let's say, 175 people. Well, that's something to reckon with, especially if they are of these competitive, player sorts where they do min-max and they do focus on the metagame and they do optimize their stuff and they win most of their matches. Well, then you can take on a team that's made out of 500 players because you're not losing, and then you have the demoralization of that bigger team. And yes, they can attack you 6 times in a fucking day because they have 600 goddamn members, but if they're losing the whole time and you have multiple teams in alliance striking their planets back, that's going to be something that has to be considered in the overall crux of things.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to we don't know what CW is going to be, but I don't at all think it's going to be a replacement for these leagues.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a replacement for competitive gaming, but certain leagues may go by the wayside because they are filling in for community warfare. Multi-Talented's Proxys is awesome. Lots of people have been having a great time with it, but until we see what's going on in CW, we can't know if Proxys will stand the test of time. And Multi, you've mentioned that before, so I'll let you kind of chime in on that.
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure how community warfare is going to be structured. I don't know if they're managing mechs as like a kind of a guild ownership thing, or if they're going to be managing people, as in like you assign these people to this dropship and moved it to this planet, so therefore they're available for defense. I don't know how it is, and if it's completely different, there might still be a place for Proxys, but I never intended Proxys to be a replacement for community warfare or a competitor of the official thing. So I figured that when community warfare came out, we'd just end the season for Proxys, and that'd be the end of it.
That was always what I had thought your intention was as well, and so I didn't know. I mean, it's hard for me to picture anything that community warfare could be that would put an end to the competitive scene. It's like things like American Run Hide or Die. I just feel like stuff like that's always, well, I don't feel like it's always going to exist, but I feel like it always should exist. I mean, my personal goal is I want to do everything I can to make this game an esport, to make it popular, to make there be tournaments for money, and I want the shit shoutcasted and all that jazz. This is the best game in the world.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah. But that all requires the drive to be there from the community. And I think that there are enough individuals that it could happen, but it all depends on, like, if community warfare is just godly and people are just like, let's just do that instead. Like, that could all fall apart. So, I don't know. Go ahead. What were you say?
I was gonna say, if it's anything like I said, I've got a lot of World of Tanks play, and if it's anything like that, yeah, there's gonna be a separation. You're gonna have clans doing community warfare. You're gonna have clans that do almost exclusively the competitive outside of community warfare, and it'll be good. If we can get it that far, then we'll be golden.
Yeah, I agree.
So here's one of those little tidbits. I know Deadfire and I, when we started building 228, we focused the entire unit around community warfare. That's why we got so excited when we finally were able to be involved in Proxys. So competitive gaming in Deadfire, in my eyes, would be secondary to ruling half of the inner sphere in community warfare.
Yeah.
I'd see, well, and that's the thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, but 228 has grown to the point where you could sustain both of those.
Ideally,
Yeah.
that would be the ideal, and come community warfare, we'd actually hopefully grow the unit more.
Right.
We're not at the capacity that Deadfire and I want to be at for 228,
and I hadn't
it's where it needs to be right now.
I hadn't innately thought of you guys on that topic, but my prime example had been C-Reddit. C-Reddit has a bunch of people. They just hang out, they play together, like that's their thing. But then they also have a competitive team, and they have enough players that that's completely viable. The other people that come to mind would be Templars,
That's
Oh
what
my
I was
God.
gonna say.
where I feel like once community warfare comes out and once private lobbies come out, I feel like Templars will join the competitive scene. And I really,
Yeah.
I
Well,
want
they're
to
gonna
have
join community warfare. That's always been their goal, and they were who I was mentioning for that 500 players.
Well, and that's what I
You
mean.
know?
Like, I feel like as soon as private lobbies come in, because they've made some statements about why they don't do sync drops and stuff like that. And personally, I just want Templars. Somebody should come on the show. Actually, you guys should join a league, because I don't take people that aren't in leagues. You guys should join a
They're
league.
going to join Proxys.
No
There you go.
fucking way.
Yeah, wait, they want to bring
No,
like a
they
boatload
seriously
of
approached me
teams,
and
too.
like, we might
They got a ton.
after Christmas.
Really?
Damn. Dude,
They
a
were-
lot of cool shit's going down after Christmas. I've got a plan for something after Christmas.
Yeah,
too.
but I mean, but let's think about it. Let's just think about it in Proxys's mind. If Templars joined and they brought 6 teams,
Are they planning on joining as a faction?
they could
As
join as whatever the
six-
fuck they want.
They could
As
join as,
6
like-
factions?
As all of them.
Well,
So
not
many people.
factions, not like all of them factions, but like as one unit spread against like pirates, clans, mercenaries, factions, whatever.
Well, let's just think about it though. There's
Holy
4
balls.
separate types of factions in Proxys. If Templars bring 8 teams and they play 2 of each type, 2 factions, 2 pirates, 2 clans, and save me on the last one.
Pirates?
Mercenaries?
Pirates.
Pirate clan,
Pirates.
yeah.
Mercenaries, there we go. And they all work in tandem. That's a real fucking pain in the ass to deal with.
Well, I think that's one of the good things about Proxys. And I both love and hate Proxys for different reasons, Multi. But one of the things I think it really does well is it shows what some of the great things that will come out of community warfare. It also shows a lot of the issues that will come out of community warfare. Are huge teams just going to be able to steamroll other teams because of their massive size and ability to coordinate? Groups like Goons or Templars or some of the Davian teams. So I think Proxys is kind of a good small test for looking at some of those issues. And if I think PGI were smart, they'd be looking at that and seeing how teams are going to be coordinating with each other, whether or not they're going to be switching sides, or what influence the size of a team is going to have on the overall community. So I mean, it's going to be a good test for that. And I think looking at teams like Templars, if they come in, and if they take a lot of units, and if they're able to coordinate their efforts, then that's going to go a lot towards looking at how community warfare is going to go.
Right. And then, if that did happen and they did pull off a massive, combined strike across the IS and Proxys, you're going to see multiple teams suddenly align together and combat them. And you're going to be able to see exactly, what you said. You're going to be able to see how community warfare would handle those types of teams. You're going to see the top fighting the south and, the left fighting the right, or whoever they're spread out, them trying to link up together. And, you're going to see all of these different situations that would really give some good indications of that, and some really interesting, stressful planning on many of the leadership of units.
So, somebody just posted in chat, and I can see it now. Templars join Proxys. SJR joins Proxys. SJR and SWK play together for the first time and crush Templars.
And they could, because they have the win streak, and that was what I was saying earlier, is that they will have the stronger player base, but can they handle getting struck 8 times a fucking day in Proxys? They don't have the financial or supply to do those kind of things, and depending on how community warfare goes, that's a big thing. I mean, that's what's great about Proxys, is that you can't just defend everything instantaneous. You have to focus your efforts and plan things and make alliances.
Yeah. Can small elite units stand up to large mediocre skilled units? I think that's one of the big questions.
That will be interesting, and it's going to be interesting for me, because I have to decide, do I start covering community warfare? Is that now something that is considered competitive, or are we just sticking with this leagues? Because it all depends. Was that?
I don't think it'll ever be competitive.
Hold up.
Third
I'd
show.
like to answer his question.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
He was saying, could big units or small units stand up to big units, or vice versa? And from what I've seen in Proxys, is you are limited by how many people you have for how many defenses you can accommodate in a week. But then you see these better teams, they just win every match that they play against these other teams. So you get you get beaten back, but they can't beat you back everywhere. So you are confined to your space, and you're not just rolling over everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the small elite teams generally will hold small areas because they can. They're not going to get pulled out of there. They're not going to get taken out. They can push forward or move back wherever they want, but at the same time they can't hold their backfield. So, and a lot of that is that's just the way, that's the nature of the beast.
Kind of feels like you compare this a little bit to EVE, and that the huge corporations are able to take and hold vast amounts of territory, but smaller, maybe very skilled teams or corporations, whatever they're called, they're not able to take and hold space, but they are able to influence the game in other ways.
God, is that true? In EVE, that's a fucking great example.
And it's like that because the small elite teams, I imagine most of the elite teams that we could name right now, the top competitive teams, would enter community warfare as mercenary units, and they would not be entering as a house group, because the ideas, the philosophies that go into those two groups are very, very different. So I don't see. So it depends. Is how is a small elite mercenary team going to have any influence on a huge scale like that, where you have two massive groups battling it out? Where does the elite mercenary come in? Are they like a special forces kind of unit that a house could deploy in certain situations, or there's a lot up in the air about that.
I think
Not
that's
to
one of the
mention-
things that Proxys does a good job of showing, because you do have those. They're not necessarily mercenary units, because you don't have the player restrictions that you're going to have with Community Warfare, where you need fucking hundreds and hundreds of players to form a house or to be in a house. But you do see those teams where you're like, that team is really fucking good, and you can tell because they're doing this, this, and that. And I think it'll be interesting to see that in Community Warfare, and how, like, House A is having, well, fuck it, I know house names, what the hell am I doing? Davian is having trouble conquering a Karita planet. They call in, SWK mercenaries, and they just get shit on. Like, stuff like that. And somebody from Karita finds that out, and, they hire BSK to defend. Had to do it.
BSK wins.
I actually see that going on right now.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's a Davian unit hiring BSK to defend it.
See? There
And
you go.
they've lost their matches previously, so there you go.
Cool. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'll have to start a fucking whole new show just talking about Community Warfare.
Whenever they actually release details.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think a lot of the holdup is... So actually, this is a really good segue, because we've talked about this for a long time, and I feel like we can move on. I feel like they're close, and part of the reason I feel like they're close is because of this turret announcement, which I feel like is a very, very minor thing that has been, like, on the fucking ass into the drawing board for, like, a year. And I feel like if they're thinking about stuff like this, it means that putting more people on a certain project is probably counterproductive at this point. Like, putting 5 more guys on Community Warfare isn't going to do any good, because it's either far enough along that they don't need it, or that it would be counterproductive because they already have so many people working on it. And I feel like UI 2.0 is going to be one of those huge steps, because they've said that they're not going to release anything as a part of Community Warfare until UI 2.0 is out, because there's no point, because it's all going to change.
I mean, these turrets are what I think they are. They're for that new game type that we should be expecting soon.
Attack
It's
and
just
defend.
Attack and defend.
Attack and
I'm
defend.
so
that's what they're
excited.
for.
So
Fairly certain.
So I'm gonna bring up something real quick because I was off getting beer, so it might have been covered. But remember early on, like way early on, they mentioned that they wanted to alter what assault was and not make it kill or be killed. They wanted to make it an assault map where you actually assaulted something, and they talked about turrets. And now we're seeing this thing that we haven't heard again about since early closed beta. They're going into their handbag of interesting things that they haven't had the time or ability to introduce to the game, and they're like, hey, remember that really cool thing about how we wanted to make assault an actually assault map and have people attack and defend? Yeah, let's do that for Community Warfare. Hey, let's bring in turrets.
I'm
And
super
we might
excited.
see something cool.
I think turrets will be awesome. I think they're going to be super fucking cool.
But not with
Dude,
those small
a base
lasers. Fuck
building.
small lasers.
Dude, I want to see
And machine
fucking
guns? Machine
quad-
guns.
Machine guns.
I want to see 4 AC-20 turrets surrounding a base. Get fucked,
Ooh.
light mechs.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding. That'd be brutal.
Well, could you imagine though? Like you
Sounds
start out
terrible.
with something like machine guns and small laser
LRMs.
turrets, and if your unit's doing really well in Community Warfare, you can upgrade them on the planets that you have. So like, they someone tries to go and like take over a planet. It's like, oh my fucking god, everything's got Gauss and BBCs. And it's like, we defended with 550 tons, but all of our turrets consist of a team of, 1,400 mechs or 1,400 tons.
Mind is fucking blown.
I think it'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
LRM turrets. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
Lerm turrets.
Tag-
Mech Warrior
tag.
4 Lerm turrets.
You just get to fucking drop
Oh,
your
you have
drop
to-
ship on the planet. It's like, 4 ERPPCs, 3 LRM-20s, and 2 AC-10s. Get fucked, other team.
All I have to do is tag. Yes, now my tag is viable.
The new turrets are just going to be a Jaeger mech, except for they're just going to chop off at the waist
stuck
and
in the
just
ground.
plant it on the ground.
No,
and
no,
it's
no,
gonna
no,
just spin 360s.
It's just gonna. So it's gonna be. It's gonna be the original. God, what did the original cap point even look like? I don't even remember. It's just like a post,
It
wasn't
was
it?
just a box. There wasn't
I don't know.
that thing in the middle.
That's true. Yeah, okay. It's just gonna be like the cap point that it is now with Jaeger arms on it that spin around. Pew pew pew
Wait.
pew.
I just want everyone to know that I bought some Twinkies to eat on the stream.
And now nobody can see
And
it.
nobody
Oh,
can see
no,
it,
Twinkie.
but I am eating them.
You
at
need
the
to take
moment.
pictures and upload them as image or links as the night goes on.
If you take a picture of yourself eating a Twinkie, I will set it as the cover photo for this episode of War Room on YouTube.
And,
Oh
and
my
dip
God,
them in
I'm doing it
beer.
right now.
Beer dipped Twinkies.
Beer dipped Twinkies.
Dude, I've had a deep fried Twinkie because I live in Minnesota and I go to the state fair. Those are actually fucking delicious.
Yeah, there.
Yay, heart
And I
attacks.
hate Twinkies overall, and they're still
Dude,
good.
I'm 21. I can survive anything. I'll be alright.
Buckton Versenix is a man.
Wait, what?
He is?
Based on my beer dipped Twinkies.
Oh.
Apparently that validates my gender.
Oh my God. You are a man.
Versenix is a man.
I
God,
was
that'd be-
confused before,
Let's get
but
down
now,
to business.
Yeah,
now I know.
anybody that lives in the Midwest, buy this beer. It's great. Do you guys think do you guys think that turrets are for assault mode, or do you think they're for the new attack and defend mode?
I think that they're going to alter it now. I think that too much of the community enjoys Assault how it is, even though I don't personally. And that the turrets are going to be a new thing for new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, PGI likes to bring in new stuff, not fix things that need to be fixed. So based on that pattern, I expect that we'll see something new versus
Do
an
we get the-
alteration of the old.
Do we get the moon map next patch?
Soon. We should be
I
getting
thought
it
it was
soon.
supposed to be this patch, and then they were like, no.
Well, I mean, that's purely a marketing decision. They're not going to release a new map with new mechs. That'd be fucking.
I swear to God, when
That's
that
not
map
spreading your
comes out,
content.
all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play Star Wars music the whole time I'm running around in a Jenner.
You're not going to make an alt account called Death Star, and only play games on that map.
Luke Skywalker?
Everyone needs to make variations of X-wing, TIE Fighter, Y-wing, and stuff, and we all play on the same map, running around making noises over our mics. I've got you.
Oh my God! No!
Yo,
You need to make
leader.
a fucking 12-man. Everybody makes alternate accounts with all of the X-wing pilots from the Star Wars movies.
It'd be
Red leader,
great.
red leader standing by. Red
And then
leader.
someone will hit the Jenner, and someone will have
They came from
R2D2
behind.
Standing by.
Stay on target.
Stay on
Stay on
target.
target.
Stay on target. You just have
Listen up.
six. You just have 6 fucking light mechs charging in an Atlas. Just everybody's
Switch
typing
all
"stay on
the
target."
fucking fields.
Somebody turns off their HUD. Luke, I see you've turned off your targeting system.
Nothing but small pulse lasers, right?
Oh, fucking perfect.
Use the force. Luke.
No, somebody has to have
Torso.
somebody has to have an AC-20. It's the torpedoes.
Exactly.
And how else are you gonna hit that swamp rat back home?
LRMs.
God damn it.
Lock on, bro.
Well, the show's officially devolved to us talking about Star Wars. Welcome, welcome to War Room, guys.
Welcome
Official
to Nerd Speak.
Dude, I'm just gonna do a drunk episode once every 10 episodes. This is great.
No, you haven't even gotten me there yet.
Mm.
I'm not
Alright.
even drinking anything. I don't
This was
need to.
mostly
I'm pretty
vodka.
hammered.
Is
Yeah.
there such a
Oh,
thing as a
milk.
non-competitive meta mech?
What?
Non-competitive meta.
Did somebody say that in chat?
Wait,
Just drank.
I think that needs to
Oh,
fall
fuck.
into my article again.
That's a street
Non-competitive
Kintaro?
Metamex.
Street Kintaro? Question mark?
Nah, well, now you use them on no ECM stuff. They're alright.
Streak NATO.
Street NATO.
Which units actually run that? Because the words don't.
No, well,
Luna
Swords isn't
Wolves.
the only thing out there. QQ
I
ran
know.
it a lot. A lot. I mean, a ton.
You see the Streakhawks, the AC-20. I think it's much more
Ah, yeah,
effective
those
than
hurt.
freaking Kintaro.
Yeah.
I think I have to go make another drink. I already drank my whole drink.
Dude, I already know. I already drank a bunch of vodka. Now moving on to beer.
It's cheaper.
I'm fine with just shooting the shit for a while. I've got fucking nothing to do tonight. For a second, when I read this turret post, I thought it was gonna be like a module. Thought it was gonna be like drop a turret from orbit, and that would have been just so much fuckery.
Well, obviously, you read fucking small lasers and you're like, who would actually defend their base with small laser turrets?
All the Davion. That's all they did. Small lasers and machine guns.
Does
That's
anyone
all.
else think back to like Warhammer with the
Oh,
little
God,
guys in
Tarantula.
green shooting their flashlight
The
guns?
flashlight.
You're talking
Yes.
about hey
Yes.
Vercinix. You're talking about the Imperial Guard and their
Yeah.
las rifles. Let's be really
Yes.
With the
fucking
flashlights?
let's be really fucking specific about this. Let's be really careful about how much we talk about
Let's
Warhammer.
establish nerd dominance right now.
Yeah.
It was
if we're swinging tabletop EPs, let me whip mine out.
Oh my goodness.
it was terrible whenever my chaos would die to one. Somebody would be like, yeah, yeah, and I'm like, you just killed one, but it's like, yeah, flashlights.
Had the fucking basilisk tanks and just be like, well, I'm gonna shoot all of your I played fucking oh my god. Tyranids. Holy shit, I forgot for a second.
Ah,
I was like
All your guns.
Termagants, Zerglings. No, shit, fuck. I couldn't remember.
Same thing.
Random
right?
crazy and bug alien type thing.
No, the best was Gene Stealers. You ran those bitches into a
Oh,
fucking
so good.
squad of Terminators. You're like, okay, I get 48 attacks. Let me just roll half a cube here.
Yay,
all,
rending.
all of those 6s are rending. All of your Terminators die. Get shit on. But anyway, back to fucking Mech Warrior. Holy balls.
I like the
Derail.
flying worm shooter, Hype Tyrant. Twin linked, reroll to wound.
The Devourer
Yeah.
cannon. Yeah.
Who cares? It has no
Uh.
armor value penetration.
Titan is sitting over here in the chat being like, fuck you, Raffle, because he
12
played Space
dice.
Marines, and I used to get fucking just shit all over him. It was glorious. Okay. Do we have anything else to talk about Mech Warrior related? I mean, I'm fine with keeping going, but...
We can come back to the article.
Yeah, let's...
What
say the-
article?
Let's say the word metagame a bunch.
This is where we get drinking, guys. Alright, so,
Oh, I'm
so
already drunk.
I was talking about it, and then I gave like the pretext, the walk into the situation, and then fucking Ruffles like, and on to other things like patch notes. And I'm like, that's cool. Whatever, fuck it.
My plan for the
So-
show got so fucked, because we were originally going to have Walder come on and talk about community or corporate warfare, and then we are going to talk about patch notes, and then that was probably going to take up a ton of time, so we are going to hear you
That's
talk.
boring.
Yeah,
So
It's
what
okay.
you're saying?
It's just what you do.
I know.
So what you're
fuck.
saying is I threw a wrench in your gears.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
so
his-
sorry.
his
I
fucking-
cannot be as good as them.
His internet, his
My
internet was
bad,
going out every
my
10
bad.
minutes.
I'm gonna go drink bleach and uninstall.
Oh, Jesus.
I was
no. See,
okay with
Ruffle
it
just
until
gets
I heard
excited.
the bleach
Let
part.
me add you on my friends list here.
He just gets excited, and then he starts talking about whatever other thing got him excited, and completely forgets, like, doesn't no questions about this.
All right,
This
You know?
is, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen on this
all right.
show.
I'm
We're
gonna
just
bring it
supposed to
back
theory
around
craft.
because I'm interested. What?
First,
Go ahead
next,
with
talk
your
about
art.
the metagame and this glorious
Yeah,
picture.
mute us all. Mute us all.
No. Alright, so as he pulls up the fucking Word of Blake image. So, as you can tell from the image, I kind of took a semi-trolly approach on this entire topic, just for the fact that just people you don't understand the verbiage, the vocabulary correct on these things, yo dog. And so I actually got flamed for this. It was the first article I ever got flamed about because they're like calling me like old school and like an old man and stuff on the Reddit post. They're like, "Oh my god, this is totally ancient verbiage. You need to adapt with the times." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, you got it wrong. So basically, the gist of it is we describe what metagame is, and metagame is basically any information that is outside of the game. It's stuff, and I kind of threw like a quick little quote thing. I'm like, plus things that PGI say in their patch notes because PGI UI 2.0 isn't out, which has a bunch of information that we should have. And then I went into discussing how metagame is like a living, breathing entity, and what we do as players is build to adapt to the metagame. So the metagame's the ecosystem, and what we do with our mechs and how we play doesn't have a forehead. Okay, people confusing me. So
Barsec, stop reading the chat.
I know, right?
You get a little distracted here, sir.
So then what we do is optimizing for the metagame. And so, long story short, I go into information warfare. That information warfare comes in two different shades. That you have the information warfare that we all know and love inside the game, which is target calling, UAVs, finding out where the opponent is, and then, getting rolled because someone didn't see that AC-40 Jaeger standing behind you. And then, then there's the actual information warfare, which is your research on other teams. Fuck you, Multi. So
get timed out, bitch. Fucking distracted Bercy. Told you guys I was lifting the banhammer. 600 seconds.
So then you have the secondary information warfare, which is like your research on units. So in the case of many teams, they go and they watch the other person's streams. You see what they're bringing, what they're practicing. You find out that they have a spreadsheet that they happen to publicize everywhere. And you go and you take a look at it and you see what they're bringing. And you base your teams against it. So that actually is the metagame. Whereas things which I then go into, like mechanics, are not, because it's part of the game. Optimization is the finale of the game itself, and that's where you find your jump snipers and your 6 medium laser Jenners. And basically, when the players were saying, oh my god, good players don't run meta, what they actually meant is good players don't have to run optimized mechs. And they were kind of cutting out all of those other mechs that they weren't thinking of, like the Trebuchet with a 20 on it, and the Hunchback 4P, and the Jenner F, and all these mechs that you kind of just take for granted, but they are truly min-mechs. I didn't know shit about Jenners, and then Ara came in and he's like, here, let me teach you about Jenners. And my mind was blown that there was so much depth to a goddamn Jenner when I was like, holy shit, you can actually do this? And he's like, yeah, because actually when they shoot you, and he goes into all these things about where you get hit and how you can actually reduce, armor on these certain locations to max it out. And I'm like, fuck, I never put that much thought in any of my mechs. God damn it. And, it's just really great. And that's optimization for a meta. And, then they just, that whole post that they made originally just was so wrong on so many levels. And so it kind of frustrated me. And I wrote this entire article to basically explain that, yes, technically, good players don't, but you kind of do. And Raffle's actually looking at a picture of, a game. I think I was playing with, I don't remember who at the top of my, I think it was Swords. Let's see here. Oh, it was an Alliance. It was Alliance. It was Little Swords and 228. And we dropped against a team, and we were running no PPCs and no jump jets. And we 12 and 0'd in the queue.
Really sad that I'm not in this picture, by the way. I'm really sad that I'm not in this picture.
Yeah. But we 12 and 0'd them, and they were, as you can see, running lots of min-max mechs. I mean, yes, there were lots of Ilya Murmetzes, but they had some Ds and some Dragon Slayers, and they had lots of stuff that were quote-unquote optimized, or in the case of their terminology, meta. So yes, it is possible. However, as I said in the article, if you have two teams of 12 players that are all equally skilled, and one min-maxes and one doesn't, mathematically, one team is far superior in all aspects based on that sole factor alone. And why would you not do that for your team?
Mm-hmm.
There, I tried to keep that short.
No, I mean
minus the distractions.
That was a good sum up. I mean, we're running on like nearly an hour and a half here, so I don't
Yeah,
want to.
that's why I try to make it short.
I don't want to like bore the 37 or so viewers to death. It's more they don't fucking. They're gonna watch no matter what. Oh, kitty! Ah,
Yeah.
kitty.
Multi gets cat.
Kitty cat. Never mind. We're gonna go for another hour while I look at Maltese cat.
That's a good-looking kitty.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about either Percy's article or does Chad have any questions?
Well, what I kind of got from that article is it's all information warfare. If you know what the enemy's gonna run, like you ever watch Steeljack's stream?
Yes.
They can call our strats play for play. They're
Oh,
like, River City Knight, perfect example. They're going to be like, okay, they're going to be behind the Citadel. They're going to be on this block. What are we going to do to counter them? And then, we will be there like every time. But, it's based off of individual performance, other things like accuracy, who's lucky, who gets hit registration,
And
etc.
your counter information warfare.
And counter information warfare, like in the lighter drops, our team will stack back armor because we know swords love to, or not swords, Steeljack loves to shoot us in the back. It all affects on literally how the end game turns out, because based off of any other drop, we know other units, they can have good light pilots or they can have bad light pilots. But Steeljack has really good light pilots relative to everyone else who love to back core enemies, so we'll just stack back armor. It's like whatever, we'll put 20 back armor when we normally wouldn't, but against those guys we would, which, that's kind of what I gathered. It's kind of the metagame. It's tailored to who you play against, who what's going to happen. We know they're going to shoot us in the back, so fuck it. We'll put 80 back armor, say, whatever. And
we'll walk our Atlases backwards into them.
Or we know they only aim center torso. So if you're being targeted, we tell you to cycle to the back. Don't give them your center torso. Give them your right arm. Fuck it. That could be your weapon arm. Who cares? They're not going to shoot. Whatever. So we'll tell that person, hey, if you're getting focused, turn away. And then they won't even shoot at you. They're like, oh, that's center torso. We're not going to... Oh, we can't aim at their center torso? Fuck it, we're not even going to shoot at them. If you look at our last drop against those guys, I was completely out of position. But this is just a perfect example. I walked out into the water, and I was out of position because my team knew, they said we were going to push up, and I was like, oh, fuck it, okay, I'm going to push out. And I know that Steeljack likes to aim center torso. So I walk out of position, and my team's not following me for whatever reason. And I'm like, fuck, what do I do?
Because you're out of position.
And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do as an individual to remediate this? Oh, I'm just going to not give them my center torso. And they ended up not shooting at me until I turned all the way around, and I walked back towards my team, not giving them my center torso, and they never shot at me once. And I could almost predict that happening, even though, whatever. But it's match 3 of our 3-0 against them last game. Not saying that we outplay them, whatever. But I tailored my play style to how I knew they were going to play against me. And that's the metagame. That's what I gathered from Versenix's post.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I tried to convey, is that's what you're dealing with. And there's lots of forms of that, but as of right now in MWO, as it is, that's the metagame. And, lots of people gave me there's lots of trolls or questions or people hating on things that I said, but a lot of it was basically that there just isn't a variety of metagame for MWO currently. One of the guys on the post, he was like, how come, or God, it was last War Room. He said, do you guys feel that the jump snipe PPC meta is getting stale? And, we all had our opinions, but it kind of fell back to the article that I'm not mad that that's the optimization for the meta. I'm mad that the meta has not been altered ever to adjust to where there are other forms of combat besides that can be played. And that the competitive community have to implement artificial rules. Revolve, you fuck. Have to alter and create these artificial rules to actually make the game different and unique, and basically artificially create a metagame. Nice try, Multi.
Doesn't tonnage come into play there?
Very much so. That's one of them, though.
Is it really
if you
artificial?
drop in 12 mans, none of that is different. But you get into Run Hot or Die, there's tonnages. You do Merrick Civil War, there's tonnages and restrictions. You do Proxus, there's mech restrictions based on the planets that you own or are allied with, that you can purchase the mechs based on a market system that you have to constantly manipulate with the current finances that you own. All those things. There's none of that in MWO. The community has had to create those.
Well, I think when we get into private servers, and probably when Community Warfare rolls around, when you know in advance what map you're going to hit, I think that's going to change the whole situation.
Oh yeah.
Because so much of it's conditional. The only thing is that the sniping meta is just the safest bet to take on any given map. Is that there's no map where you're absolutely screwed if you take snipers, unless you get the low ground on River City, in which case you may have a case there.
We don't fucking talk about that map. Everything about it.
And that's what I'm looking forward to, is when private servers hit, is that it's going to completely change the meta. And when you have all that information in advance, you're able to tune your decks to the situation rather than generalize. And the thing is that the generalization now is just sniping. And I'm looking forward to see that change. I think it will change. I think it will bring back a lot of players.
It'll also bring back LRMs. It's going to bring back a lot of stuff because you're going to be like, oh, it's a small map, it's a big map, it's got a lot of cover.
We're on Alpine. Everybody get your Lerm Stalkers.
Oh my god.
Well, or you run snipers on Alpine.
But you laugh, but that's totally going to be a thing. Like, you're going to have light mechs with tags, and you're going to have a bunch of LRMs, and that's going to be hard as fuck to deal with, especially on, like, Assault, where you can set up in a really open space and force an engagement into a long corridor where you just get to LRM somebody for 200 meters.
Or you stand on top of the...
Well, it's actually interesting that, Trent said what he did, because literally almost word for word what he said, I said in my article. I basically sat down and I defined at what point did the meta create itself. And, we figured out the optimization for that meta and what it is. And basically, it was Run Hot or Die. It was the kill and don't be killed mentality. And so you optimized your mech chassis to build around that. And so we basically figured out that if you have a jump jet mech with alpha strike capability, where you can jump at the peak of the arc, you fire and then land, you're doing two things. You're doing massive amounts of damage to a pinpoint area where you can kill a mech, and you are now dropping behind cover so you cannot be shot at. And you fulfill everything that's needed for the metagame in that current situation. And as he said, map change, I actually brought up maps and how the choice of map or having knowledge of the map previous to the match, if that was introduced, everything changes. Because you know what? Like you said, Raffle, Alpine is one of the best maps to bring Lerms on because it just fucks the jump snipe meta. The hills are just short enough that you can play your 733, jump, tag, launch missiles, and strike those jump snipers. And then you're kind of combating your jump snipe with their jump snipe, but you get an arc and they don't. And you get lock on, they don't. So you kind of play the easier optimization. And it's a counter. And we haven't been able to play that because, gee, why the fuck are you going to go ahead and play with Lerms on Crimson Strait when they just go into the goddamn garage and your Lerms are absolutely fucking useless?
And the whole game right now, it's like rocks, paper, scissors, except scissor beats rock and paper, and
Yeah, it's
scissors
like-
is a sniping game.
Oh, you brought fucking 4 AC-40 Jaegers and you got River City? Well, I get fucked. But on a lot of other maps, it's...
But if you hit Alpine, you're
Yeah, you're
You're
just
sitting
you're
pretty
totally you're shit out of luck. There's nothing you can do.
You mid max to have only 2 lights on a big map. Oh, you got a small map, or you got, you know what I mean?
Hmm. The once private lobbies come out, every fucking time I do this show, we're gonna have to go through every single map and talk about what the new meta is for each
Oh
map.
my god.
Because it's gonna change
I'm
for
gonna
every
be
map
so
all the
busy.
time. Like that's gonna be the stuff. Like that's gonna be what happens.
You mean there's going to be a meta that has variation? That's what that comes
yeah.
down to.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what I mean. Also, meta.
Meta.
I
Oh my
really
God,
look
I don't have
forward
a
to
drink.
that. I mean, right now
I'm super
everybody counts
excited.
the maps that are short and long and figures out how many light maps to take. I think people are doing that. And just like the hot and cold maps, how many energy boats, that sort of thing, if you're going to use them. And you can take a risk and you can roll the dice on that. But when lobbies come out, yeah, you're going to have the specific maps per meta. And like Caustic, you're just going to see LRM wars and stuff like that. And it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
Double
agree.
AMS all of a sudden is like, woohoo.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. Like using AMS with ECM is gonna actually be a thing on certain maps.
So a quick thing. Personally, Mount Doom ballistics will be far more pertinent versus laser boats. But one of the things, Ricey, I wanted to address your thing, and I hate standing up to PGI because I think they have a right to do it themselves. But PGI is not deaf to people like us, or the competitive community as a whole. They just are being cautious, and they're taking their time and trying to make things right, and sometimes fucking up. But so do most teams, development teams out there, and
They can't appeal to us before pugs because we
Yeah.
are the minority. Just like they can't always appeal to users that are on the forums because the forum users are actually the minority. Users in the game are the majority, which I know sounds weird because nobody in the game can put input in, but they have to look after their sales numbers above our enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, so Ricey, Dark Rules, who kindly pointed out that I'm white knighting for PGI right now, is one of the guys at PGI, and they do frequent streams, and they visit the team speaks of competitive teams, and they talk with us. They're not blind to these issues, and you know what? Some of the major bugs out there have been fixed because they've come and spoken to players like us. So they're definitely working hard to do those things. It's just not as fast as our greedy fingers want.
Yeah, I would disagree that they're not servicing us because we're a minority. I mean, they listen to us and then they take what we have. I mean, like, just Proxys, for
Well,
example.
it's grain of salt.
I know that they've gotten ideas from Proxys, and I haven't heard anything specifically, but I have, say, submitted a support ticket asking, like, hey, I just want to help. Is there anything I can do? And the response, and I don't think a lot of people know this, is not like, oh, we can't because we don't want to risk or we don't want to service, minority, whatever. It's not that. It's that they don't have, like, the API. They don't have lobbies. They don't have private matches. They don't have UI 2.0. They don't have a lot of stuff that
DX11.
they feel that they need in
Duke
order
Nukem.
to really be able to use Proxys or Run Hot or Die or these other leagues. And so they just can't and won't service them or support them because they're trying to get the most amount of people satisfied as quickly as possible, and they feel that their resources just would be better suited, to these really big features they've been promising for a long time.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and because I know I've sent in lots and lots and so many fucking support tickets with things where invisible walls and stuff with video feed from streams that I've done and whatnot. I'm standing on a fucking flat piece of ground and I have an invisible wall in front of me that I can't walk past. Fix this shit. Or back in HSR one time, Buckton, he's like my go-to scapegoat. I shot a spider, I think it was 17 times with my Yenlo Wang and AC-20, and only 3 hit. And at one point, I just screamed on stream, Buckton, fix this fucking shit. And, Buckton doesn't even work in that department. But it's just one of those things, And you know what? I fucking made a support ticket. I linked the match. I sent it to him. I'm like, there's a big fucking problem here. Please fix it. Please. And they got to do their job. And personally, in my opinion, as PGI goes, I have a list of things that PGI has to put precedence. And balance is number 1. And things like HSR, the SRMs, AC-20s not hitting correctly, those are big fucking problems that have to be fixed. Because you can't introduce new content like metagame altering things if the metagame cannot correctly adapt itself because things are not balanced. So take that as you will, but that is my personal opinion.
Shitting out on hosting because I'm just going through everything I said through the episode. Like, I didn't say anything bad about PGI, the developers, did I? Shit.
No, you've been good.
I always try to be. I love this game.
Ricey, I guess Raffle should answer that one. Do you think PGI is working fast enough?
Okay, so here's the thing.
We should be the last. This should be the last PGI thing.
We've been going for a while. I mean, fuck it, we can go as long as you guys want to. You're gonna get a very unpopular answer from me because I'm an econ major, and
we had this discussion yesterday.
Yeah, Malty, and I actually had this exact discussion. So my answer is going to be based around money, which is money has to come from somewhere, and somebody has to be paying for this game. Eat a dick. So somebody has to be paying. Where is Peef when you need a PGI drink? Peef doesn't fucking play MechWarrior anymore. He plays fucking Strife. God damn.
Huzzah! I want to cheer. Fuck me. Holy crap.
Drinks to the screen.
He only drinks through box wine.
So.
Oh yeah.
But
you gotta have box wine to play the Peef.
Have the box wine.
Oh my god.
So the moral of the story is, you need money to come from somewhere. And I think what we were talking about when Malty and I were talking about this the other day was, like, why not hire more people? And, like, why not take a bigger risk on stuff like that? And monetarily, you need to take the safe strategy, which is a small team developing slowly over a long period of time and making sure that you have slight gain all the time. And so the things that people are watching, the things that everybody is caring about, isn't necessarily the large improvements in the game. It's making sure that the total number of people constantly playing the game is rising, and the total amount of MC being purchased and premium time being purchased is constantly rising. And as long as those two things are going up, there's no reason to pour in extra support or pull support from a project, because as long as there's being a monetary gain, as long as things are getting done, that's what needs to happen. So I don't think anything can be done. I don't think anything can be done from the community standpoint, and I think the best thing we can do as a community is provide quality feedback and stuff like that, so we can talk about what needs to be done to make certain bugs work, or when a feature comes out, instead of being like, I don't think this is a good feature, we can be like, what makes this feature something that we would accept and totally allow, like Ghost Heat, for example. Like, everybody complains about Ghost Heat, but it did fix a lot of the problems that a lot of people had.
It did the job it was intended.
Exactly. And so...
Lots of other shit is broken, but it did the job it was intended.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to money and where that money comes from, and in the end, the development team doesn't have control over where that money comes from. They have control over what they can put in the game with the money they're given. And as long as we stay around and keep voicing our opinions and keep spending money, then we'll continue to be heard. Which sounds shitty. Like you have to spend money to get your opinion, but that's true. I mean, we could fucking go on for hours and hours and hours. about
Buy
this discussion.
Buckton beer.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
I was going to say, we have to remember that technically this is a free game. Like,
Yeah,
they're not making any money right off the top of the head. They're not
no.
People these days are so
Guild
goddamn
Wars or
spoiled.
whatever.
You bought a fucking game when I was growing up with gaming. You put your fucking money on that game, and you didn't
I
give
didn't
a
wanna
shit.
hear this.
You didn't give a shit if it was bad. You paid your money, and you were like,
Yeah.
"This game is the shit. I love this game. Fuck yeah, because I paid money for it." And now people play games for free, and they're like, "Well, this one tiny thing is kind of bad, so I'm gonna be a giant douche about it."
Well,
and
it's not just one little
this is
tiny
a
thing,
problem, and blah 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 blah.
but it is a free game, technically. And you know what? If you didn't want to spend MC on it, it's really not going to hurt you. Not like some other games that I have played.
Well,
So
we're not going to go into the free-to-play discussion, but the problem with free-to-play games
Yeah.
is that it entitles the community as soon as they spend a purchase. So as soon as you spend money on a game that's free-to-play, you suddenly feel like you are entitled to a higher opinion than everybody else who hasn't spent money, and it causes problems within the community. We're not going to go into that because that would take another fucking hour, and we're already coming up on 2 hours, but that will be something we can talk about another time.
Well, just a little food for thought. I mean, like, what if they got a bigger development team, came up with not more balancing issues, but just more content? You know, like more camos, more paints, etc. You know, they could be more like a Dota 2 free-to-play model. You know, like a Heroes of Newerth free-to-play model, and they just came up with more content so they could make more money, and then in return, you know, they could take that money, get a bigger development team, work on balancing issues, you know, work on the things that really matter, make it a better game in general. You know, like, I don't know. I just
Okay.
think if they were making more money, they could get that bigger team, do more things.
So, I need to clarify just because I'm not quite sure. Isn't that
confused.
kind of what PGI is doing? I mean, most
No.
of their money is gained from convenience and cosmetics. It's the two C's.
They are, but I don't think they're coming out with enough content.
That's the third C, but you don't pay for the third C.
We're not going to talk about merits of PGI. This is I've let the discussion
Yeah.
fucking wander. I mean, which is fine because I'm drunk and half the people on here are drunk. But
Huzzah!
it's not about
Drunk on power.
This is one of the things that I wanted to do with the show was I want to talk about what we can do with what we're given to make the competitive scene as good as it can during competitive scene. But like, so one of the things that I was the most like happy about inside when I heard it was after one of the episodes. I think it was the Phoenix Max episode. I heard somebody talking and they were talking about the show and they were just like, yeah, they didn't care like that. A lot of people were complaining that the Shadowhawk was too big. They're just like, it's the best fucking medium mech because X, Y, and Z, and it is. And that's what I want to do with this. Is I want to be like, this is what's going on. This is how it affects the competitive scene. I don't really, I don't want to berate anybody just for doing their job or doing the best job they can. I just kind of want to stick to the competitive scene and what is going on in that. So, I've let the topic stray, which is my bad. Fuck it.
Time to wrap things up, Ruffle.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're at 1 hour 54 minutes.
I mean,
and
come on,
7
look at-
seconds.
Nanner's fucking chilling out on his couch right now. He's
Dude,
ready to
Nanner's
go to sleep.
So Nanner, you make
Dude,
me
he
really
is done.
I'm fucking pissed because Siri was gonna be on the show when he was like laying in bed, and he's like, "No, I don't want to use my webcam." And I'm really mad because I feel like there would have been a lot of great screen
This is
capture.
the way. This is the way I play right here. Just
You
like
seriously play
this.
MechWarrior like that?
I
No.
do. Yes.
I've seen
Dead
your brother
serious.
I wish.
Yep. This is
would-
the greatest. It's actually a chair, and it's super comfortable.
My mind.
Dude, it
freezes.
looks
That's
like
a
a
chair?
couch. Your chair is so
Yeah.
comfy it looks like a couch.
It is a
Can't even
huge
see it.
chair.
Um,
Yeah.
All right, well let's do some shout outs at the end. I've had this up for a while actually. So I got a new graphics card, which anybody who has ever talked to me in
Shout
TS
out
would
to
know.
new graphics cards.
Fucking shout out to new graphics cards. No, so on weekends when I get drunk, I will find as many people as I can with Skype accounts and webcams and form a lance, and we'll just drink and play MechWarrior. So I'll be streaming that coming up. War Room News is going to keep happening. That'll be every Monday, a quick news update on what's going on in the competitive scene. And obviously this every Thursday, with the exception of next Thursday. Next Thursday, for those of you who live in America, land of the free, home of the brave, hoorah, all that shit.
Fucking plug United
I don't
States.
actually give a
Go
shit,
Obama.
but I might as well. So next Thursday is Thanksgiving.
America.
So I'm gonna be
America.
visiting my family, so I won't be around. Hypothetically, I need to talk to Hooray more about this, but we had talked about doing an EU War Room, which means I'd fucking not get any sleep one night next week, and we do an episode with a bunch of EU players and talk about EU teams and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll be next week. I don't know. Keep following me. Look for stuff on Reddit, on Twitter. I might release like a quick YouTube video being like War Room's going to be this day, etc., or I'll mention it on the news. But yeah, keep your eyes out for that. And as usual, I don't know how I fucking kept 40 people entertained for 2 hours, but thank you for the 40 of you that have been watching the whole time. I really
It
appreciate it.
was the panel.
What was that?
It was the panel.
It was the panel.
It was.
You would have had like 70 people if you could actually see my stream.
If we could have watched Twinkie eat Twinkies,
That's
we
true.
totally would have had a
Wait.
new record.
Wait, is that cannibalism when a Twinkie eats a Twinkie?
Dude, we'd have
But
to.
I'm the Twinkie overlord. They're like my
Dude,
minions.
we've got to get.
You
It
eat
only
all your
adds
minions?
extra cream filling to
once
the Twinkie that
once
ate
Templars
the Twinkie.
once Templars joins Proxys, we've got to get a Templar on, and he's got to make every
A
single
Templar?
other Templar watch. So then I'll have like 600 viewers for an episode. It'll
And
be
then you can be
glorious.
partnered.
And then I'll get partnered on Twitch.
I'm
fucking
convinced
end
they're
all-
like clone soldiers.
End all be all. All right, that's enough of me talking about myself. Trent, take it away.
All right. Shout out to Blackstone and Stoneface Xander Gray there, who I'm sure is very tired by now.
Xander with a Z.
Xander.
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 All right, Malty.
So I'm gonna give a shout out to the Davian Civil War. I mean Proxys, and also Milk.
And milk
And Milk.
strengthens your bones.
Twinkie, I feel terrible about your webcam not working, but you were
I
here.
bought a webcam
and
for
you were a
this
good
stream.
guest. Well, that's the fucking thing. We checked it beforehand and it worked, and then it didn't work. I don't understand. Anyway,
Gonna
so
fight. Sabotaging
Twinkie,
me, you think I'm
shut
too
up.
pretty?
He is a pretty man. You can't see it.
Look at these eyes.
Look at that Twinkie face. Nanner, take it away.
Yeah, quick shout out to Remnant. What? We also have Attorney coming up. A bunch of you guys are all invited. It's gonna be great. Double Elim. Also, shout out to Lego's mom. You know who you are.
Oh man. And he wasn't even playing the drinking game.
I don't need to drink to have fun
Oh,
or be
anybody who-
stupid.
Anybody who fucking caught up, holy balls. Versi, take it away. Mention your new shit if you want to.
Yeah, shout out to 228 for obvious reasons. But also a quick thing, Raffle and I are going to be doing a new thing on Mercstar. It is called Unit I Choose You. And basically, one of the things I've noticed in the competitive community is that lots of us have publicized our units for recruitment in many locations, but it's very stagnant, it's very placid in its style. You don't really get to know anything about the unit, it's just a big wall of text. So Raffle and I will actually be doing video interviews and gameplay from the competitive community, the competitive units out there, and bringing that to you guys so that if you are looking to be in a competitive unit, you can actually watch video feed of competitive play from them with the real leaders and members of those units, answering the questions that you want to hear, and being able to make an educated decision based on those to further your choice in your gaming adventures in MWO.
That was like a speech.
It was prepared, bro.
I don't even know how he does that. So
Did you
well.
write that down?
No,
On his hand. On his hand. It's all.
Here's how
It's
I
all
do
sweaty now.
speeches.
that was the beer speaking, bruh.
I talk a little bit monotone.
Yeah?
And I say things like da 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 da. Don't worry.
Da, da,
No.
da.
War Room News is going to be a lot better
And-
this week. I won't.
And meta.
I
I
won't-
say a lot of words like meta.
I won't suck on War Room News this week. That'll be Monday. I'm pretty sure.
Meta, yellow swag.
Meta, meta,
I hear the
competitive.
meta is
Meta?
towards MetaMax.
All right.
Is meta for MetaMax?
God damn it! I'm just gonna chug a beer during the end of the show.
Can I
Thanks.
get a shout out?
Thanks Oh wait, shit! Did I not let somebody shout out?
Brent
Yeah,
and
Twink.
Twinkie did not get shout outs.
You do
You
that.
skipped by him, bro.
You
the
skipped two
fuck?
people. That's rude.
No.
Because I'm
No, I
awesome.
totally told Twinkie to do. No.
Yeah, you told him, and then you skipped by him after making Twinkie jokes.
No.
Yeah,
Trent.
you did.
Trent did a shout out
You
to
did.
BSK, and then I went to Multi.
What? Well,
Admit it.
Twink
Come
gives
on.
a shout out to SJR for being so awesome. You know, like they pump out content and they're really good sports. And
All
I
right.
like them.
Trent, take
And
it
we
away
should
again.
be a unit. Whoa.
Going in.
Whoa.
See,
Oh,
he even knows he already did it.
No, I'll
But
add
no,
to
it
the
was just Twinkie.
It's just
RHOD finals is coming up December 5th at 9:30 between SJR and SWK, being shoutcasted by myself, Xander, Grimlock, and Carpenter from QQ. So
Watch it.
keep an eye for that.
Baller.
Do it. Yeah. Thanks for everybody who showed up to watch. Thanks to my guests as usual. I swear one time I won't have to replace somebody 10 minutes before the show starts. People keep giving me shit. I got a fucking message on Reddit that was like, could you please put who's going to be on the show in the announcement thread? And I was like, no, because the people that are on the show when I make this post are never the people that are on the show. I've never once had the show air with the people that, like, fucking 36 hours beforehand. I was like, yeah, they'll be there. Totally cool. I get to fucking showtime. It's like, actually, we've been sync dropping for 6 hours and we've only hit one match, so I can't make it.
I'm
Fuck!
responsible for about half of that.
Damn it.
No, it's
No.
Tonight-
Unreliable as fuck.
tonight it
Don't
was
you dare give me
totally
that shit.
technical issues.
I just
that's
want to give a shout out to Trent for dropping out of our match.
I think I was more like thrown out for getting, less than 100 damage and 2 drops in a row.
Eh.
Should have threw an artist strike.
fucking free damages.
Knowing my luck, it would probably hit
Pull
Xander
up the
right
numbers.
Alright, I'm going to cut it short. I think, we just went over 2 hours a little bit ago, so thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you sometime next week. See you for War Room News on Monday, and thanks again. Catch you later, guys.
Huzzah.
Adios.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.